I'm here for that.
I'm here for any type of intestine surgery, rectal rebuilding, relocated saliva glands, and chimpanzee acne. Just call 1-800-PP51-DOO-DOO. I'm in your corner.
This is Horribly Off Topic, episode number 202. I'm Chris.
Oops, I was taking a sip, and I'm Steve.
I like the idea of a cold open, but we've never done a cold open, so I wonder...
We just did.
I know, but our theme song is sort of a longer thing, so it's not like you could just end... Could you? Could you just sort of end where you 100 people and then go into the theme song, and then...
If you'd like.
I think that would be interesting.
Try it out.
I'm gonna try it.
On a day we're recording on a Monday. You are super obsessed with getting the show out on a Monday.
Yeah, but all that requires is a little bit of the. It's not the blade tool in here. It's the cut tool. It's the slice it up. It's the
circumcision tool.
Circumcision tool. That's exactly what it is, Steve. I'm gonna perform a bris right here on the podcast. I mean, I'm not going to perform a bris on somebody here on the podcast. He's going to perform a bris
on the podcast.
On the podcast. I don't know that the podcast has ever been circumcised, Steve. I don't know that the podcast is yet a qualified young Jewish lad.
Oy vey.
Yeah, oy gewalt. I'm so verklempt that I could plot.
That's gross.
That's what Weird Al says in that Pretty Fly for a Rabbi song. That's about the only Yiddish I know.
That's good.
I mean, I may even be wrong. I'm hoping it's not. I'm hoping that Al Yankovic is trustworthy.
Well, I mean, he is Jewish, so...
Yeah, is he a quarter Jewish? Not too shabby?
No, I mean, he... Actually, that guy that sang the song you're talking about is a secret
we talked about him last
I know!
Is he a secret Hitler?
No, I don't think so. Considering that he is Jewish, I doubt he would.
Well, I just mean that the game Secret Hitler was invented by a Jew. I was just making a reference to the game Secret Hitler. I was not attempting to say that Mr. Sandler. I was not attempting to libel or slander Mr. Sandler.
Just
slander Mr. Sandler.
Slandler. Adam Slandler. That's a little bit... No,
okay.
Don't even put it down.
All right, I'm not putting it down.
I regretted it the moment I said it the second time. Not the first time. I was
not
sort of
first
almost pleased with it the first time.
It's funny how jokes work.
Yeah.
No, I mean, so Yiddish circumcision... Adam, was there a Jew we were talking about before Adam Sandler?
Yeah, Al Yankovic.
Al Yankovic, yes. Al Yankovic is Jewish. And,
all you have to be Jewish
is have a Jewish mom.
Yeah,
right?
basically, yeah. And then boom, instant Jew.
You're the well. See, that's an interesting spin on So there's the.
This is the no spin zone, Chris.
Well, let me rephrase. It's not spin. It's an interesting thing that I want to bring up. Can I bring up an interesting thing if it's not spin?
Can I finish?
let me finish. No. So the Monty Python song "Every Sperm Is Sacred" has a line in it which says, "You're a Catholic the moment Dad came." Well, what would the equivalent be for "You're a Jew the moment Mom"? I don't know what.
Gave birth to you, because that's when you're actually born.
Oh. Thank you, Steve. That was unplanned, and that's the best kind of comedy. Not the best kind of child necessarily, but it's nothing wrong with an unplanned child. You know, it's quite a gift from God. Steve, you mentioned to me just a few minutes ago. Well, before we get to this, you mentioned to me a couple of things that you'd acquired. You were playing before the show started. Before the show began, you were playing.
Didn't get shingles again.
You were playing Ranma 1/2.
The Hard Battle, the fighting game for the Super Nintendo.
Okay.
Oh, actually, there's two. I forget what the second one was called, but it was never released in the States.
Oh, okay. Well, so the last time I thought about the character of Ranma in any way, shape,
I'm
or
wearing
form,
a Ranma shirt, too, today.
well, yes, I noticed that. So the last time before today was when I had to come up with the show art for, I don't know if it was episode 100 or episode 52.
Was it Leo One
Leo
Half?
One Half,
Yeah.
that episode. But I always seem to forget, and you asked me which character should I play in this game, and I picked Ranma because Ranma was the redhead. I always forget that Ranma is a redhead. And so
Ranma, when he's in his girl form, is a redhead.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Ranma, when he's a guy, he has black hair.
Okay. Obviously, more attractive when he's female, not because of anything except for
Your
the
personal
red hair.
preference towards women.
Well, my personal preference is for red hair. I like gingers.
So what if Ranma as a guy
Mm-hmm.
had red hair and as a girl had black hair? You'd be more partial to guy Ranma.
Well, no, I'd be more partial to his hair.
Okay, just having it cutting off his head.
Yeah, just cutting off his head and fucking his locks.
That was just vulgar.
Might have to gel it up a little bit, create a little cave
No,
there.
stop it.
Haven't you missed me? I've been gone a week.
You have been
I've been on
well. Usually I
vacation.
see you once a week, though.
All right, but you said before we get into why I've been gone a week, which one did you just acquire? You acquired an.
I mean, I've had Ranma One Half Hard Battle since probably 1995.
But you mentioned the NES Classic and the SNES Classic.
Oh yes, I got the NES Classic, which had an extremely limited run back,
Yeah.
and I'm sure, like, if you listen to the episode back, like, probably spring of 2016, maybe.
I can't remember.
I think that's when it came out, and
Yeah.
I remember the day it was put on pre-order for Amazon. I was sort of just like, yeah, maybe I'll get it later.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Dumb Steve.
That
Silly
was
Steve.
I should have got it then, and then I would have had it then, and
Right.
then, you know.
Silly Steve.
But it has about 30 Nintendo games. It has Punch-Out, but it doesn't have Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
What?
Well, the
So
thing is,
who's the final boss?
I think it's Mr. Dream.
Oh, okay. So Mr. Dream is the Mike Tyson clone they came up with when they couldn't use Mike Tyson.
I think actually, well, actually,
Well, actually.
I'm gonna Steve-splain this to you. I imagine in the original Japanese release, it was Mr. Dream, and then
okay.
when they licensed it in the United States, they're like, well, maybe we can get a famous boxer
Get
to do
Iron
it.
Mike.
So they got Iron Mike, and I think it was Mike Tyson's Punch-Out here in the States, but it wasn't
That
in
makes
Japan.
sense.
But somebody who knows, this is just a guess. I'm not looking this up. So if anybody who knows better. Is like, Steve, well, let me just whomever explain.
What is the joke? I cannot remember the joke. Is it what is a man? Where does a man on the internet get his water?
Well, actually,
I don't know if that's the actual joke, but
I think that, well, that's what makes sense.
I feel like it's
You don't
more-
come here to hunt, do you?
Eh,
They were talking about that on Harmontown, and like, because like there was a bear, and like, of course, Jeff Davis does Punchline Game and does the you don't come here to hunt, do you? I've told that joke on the show before.
You don't come here to hunt.
The guy who gets fucked by the bear every time he shoots it.
I don't know if you have told that joke.
I have, but I just
you just told it in
I
reverse.
just did but it's a great joke. It's one of my faves
Yeah.
off of Jackie Joke Man's CD.
Jackie.
Yeah.
Good old Jackie. That's getting fucked by a bear. You know, that's a thing. That's like a whole sub. There's a scene, as I recall, or multiple scenes in John Irving's The Hotel New Hampshire, where somebody wearing a bear costume fucks somebody else. I think it's a woman wearing a bear costume. She fucks a dude. Possibly she also fucks a woman, but I cannot remember. I just remember that there's a woman who wears a bear suit, and she fucks.
Cool.
I remember the important things of literature, Steve. That's what's in my brain. If students want to ask me for whether or not they should include that scene with the bear suit in their short story, I say go read The Hotel New Hampshire.
Yeah, go read that, and remember, it's important to wear a bear suit and also to fuck.
I thought you were going to say it's important. Remember, only you can prevent forest fires.
Yes. By fucking
a bear.
Yes.
Do you think Smokey gets a lot? I mean, he seems like a pretty serious fella.
I think he maybe lightly paddles people. Is that you?
I don't know.
Turn your fucking audio off.
I thought I did.
Can't believe you.
It is off.
I think he probably lightly paddles people with his shovel.
Yeah. It's supposed to be off. It's a little thingy. I don't know.
Oh, maybe it was me.
I don't know. I just wonder whether Smokey has any time to fuck, given that he has such a large responsibility. There's a lot of forest in this country, Steve. I don't know if you're aware of that. So does Smokey even get any time off? I mean, he's got to tell everybody how to prevent forest fires, and I don't know. I mean, does he fuck on the job?
Who? The bear?
Smokey.
Yeah, I mean, probably. I mean, I think he's always on alert for forest fires. So, I mean, if he can get a little bit of respite and get a little his fuck on, then why not let him?
Okay. Out of all the canonical bears, so I think we're talking Fozzie, Yogi, Smokey. Who do you think gets the most action?
Winnie the Pooh.
Now, Winnie? We don't see any other bears in the 100 Acre Woods. So who's Winnie getting the action from?
Rabbit, of course.
And is Winnie the top or the bottom in that relationship?
I think Winnie's the top, and then maybe Piglet licks his ass.
But what I'm thinking of now that you mention it is I'm thinking of the scene where Pooh gets himself stuck in halfway in and out of Rabbit's house, and I can't remember which
that was
end.
Rabbit's revenge for eating all his fucking food.
Rabbit's revenge. No, but I can't remember which end is in or out. Like is his front end in?
His front end was out of the house.
Okay,
because he was trying to leave through the small.
He's trying
hole.
to leave. He's not trying to get in.
Yeah, he went into Rabbit's house.
He ate all the honey.
He ate all the food. Like I think he ate all of Rabbit's food.
Yeah,
and then he tried to leave through the small hole instead of the door that Rabbit has.
Yeah, and
then he gets stuck in the hole, and then
Rabbit fucks him.
Yeah,
I mean maybe that's their thing. Pooh comes over, eats a lot.
all this food, and then Rabbit fucks him through the small door.
Do you think it's... so I imagine that a rabbit and a bear cannot have offspring. So do you think it's possible that...
maybe it's sort of like some jackalope kind of thing, like a donkey.
Well,
not a donkey, a mule.
Okay, let's just assume that they can't have children. So is what Rabbit's doing a way of getting off without procreating? Because as we know, rabbits have babies like Silly.
Is that the name of the Trix rabbit?
No, but the rabbits can very easily have children. So if the rabbit fucks the bear, he doesn't have to worry about getting anybody pregnant. It's a way to get his rocks off.
Okay,
that's what I'm thinking.
How did Kanga have Roo?
I think Mr. Roo is out of the picture. I think that's Roo Jr. and Mr. Roo.
Yeah, I mean, there aren't a heck of a lot of women in the 100 Acre Wood, and I think Kanga is the only one.
Yeah, I think so.
You're
not suggesting Pooh is the father.
Well, I mean, he Roo does not look anything like a bear, so he looks exactly like his mother. So
like his mother, yeah. Well, maybe kangaroo genes are dominant.
Completely dominant.
I mean, does he bounce? I mean, he bounces a little, so maybe Tigger's the dad.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah. No, it's probably that Mr. Roo was around. Mr. Roo, stuck around just long enough to.
Maybe he's a traveling salesman.
What's he sell?
Pouches.
So he's Rob Liefeld. He sells pouches.
I don't know what literature.
Oh, you don't remember? You don't remember Rob Liefeld? He's a comic book artist.
Oh.
He
I don't. It's
he's
hard for me to
for drawing many pouches around the characters that he drew. So like he took over the New Mutants and introduced Cable and Deadpool.
A real New Warriors fan would know that, I suppose.
Yes, a real New Warriors fan would know that. Hence why I know it.
Okay, so
And
you're the pouch master.
and so Rob Liefeld pouches on everything, and
like a pouch, like a kangaroo pouch, or like a bag, satchel?
like a bag, like a sack. 100 sacks around somebody's leg. I mean that. 100 pouches around somebody's leg.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like a little satchel, like a lightning bolt kind of.
Well, I mean, so if you've ever seen an image of Cable, of the character Cable, from like when he was first created, you'll note that he, aside from having, the glowing eye, he has a ridiculously sized gun and pouches everywhere. He's got pouches strapped around his legs, strapped around his arms, strapped around like a bandolier.
What were in those pouches?
Who knows? More pouches, probably.
I don't understand this guy's obsession with pouches.
Nobody does. And recently he did a drawing of the pouch, which is a man constructed entirely of pouches, also wearing pouches.
At least it wasn't a man made entirely of couches.
That's like Horace Slughorn from Harry Potter.
He wasn't a couch. It was like a easy chair.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, he was. I'm sorry. I don't want to be couch normative.
Yeah. Well, he was playing hard to get chair.
Well, I mean, he so no, it's Dumbledore. Well, at least in the movie, it's Dumbledore that pokes him. So I don't know, but I mean, I guess J.K. Rowling, or at least the producers of the next film, are walking that shit back. That's what I get.
That
Dumbledore. I mean, they're not saying that Dumbledore isn't a gay man. They're just saying they're not going to deal with the fact that back in their youth, Dumbledore was quite attracted to Grindelwald.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna like in a movie meant for children, if they're gonna have like any sort of explicit relationship, heterosexual, homosexual, or whatever.
No, but they're not. I mean, are those movies really meant for children at this point? I mean, they need to be appropriate for children 13 and over, because I think they're all rated PG-13. But these are not the movies that Chris Columbus started off making when he started off making those movies.
Harry Potter, you're a wizard.
Harry Potter must not go back to Hogwarts.
He does these impressions.
Yeah, no. So I don't think we're gonna see.
But Professor Hardcastle McCormick.
I don't think we're gonna see Jude Law and what's this Johnny Depp fucking on screen. I don't think that's meant to be.
Good.
I agree. Well, I mean, I get the sense from reading more recent interviews that or rereading stuff is that Dumbledore had the infatuation with Grindelwald, so it's kind of like Jude Law thought Johnny Depp was hot, but they never. But Johnny Depp did not reciprocate. So, like, she says this thing that Dumbledore is
that
he was
gay.
Attracted. That he was
no, but she says this thing that Dumbledore's gay. But was he ever with someone else besides this Grindelwald?
I don't know, and I get the impression.
Or even like if he was at all.
Yeah, I get the impression he might not have been with Grindelwald.
So maybe he found somebody else.
Like Smokey the Bear.
I hope so.
I mean, Dumbledore. Maybe Dumbledore's into bears. You know, I don't know what they call what they would. I don't know if bear was a term in the gay subculture way back when Dumbledore would have been a fucking age.
Yeah, and I don't know. They have different parlance in the wizarding world, anyways.
And in the UK, what do you think they call a bear in the UK wizarding world?
I don't know.
They not a bear, not a cubby.
Maybe a cubby.
But it might mean something different. He's a cupboard.
Cupboard, yeah.
Oh, so like, wait, you're a cupboard or you're a cubby, right?
A cupboard.
A cupboard or a cubby, because like you're
one. People put things in. Mm-hmm. Other could maul you or kill you.
No. But one is a big thing you put things in, and one is a small thing you put things in.
Which one's the big thing?
The cupboard. The cupboard is the big thing. The cubby is like, you tuck something away in a cubby.
I read a book when I was a kid called The Indian in the Cupboard.
I can't remember if I read that book or just pretended to. What was that book about?
It was about this cupboard that you put like a
Miniature-
toy.
Yes!
And it came alive.
Fuck yes, I remember that. Why haven't I read that since? Why don't my children read that?
I don't know.
Because
Because
the
it says
Indian in the cupboard.
Yeah, perhaps not the Native American in the cupboard.
Yeah. There's one book I've long tried. Maybe I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this on the podcast. I've never said this on the podcast. Maybe one of our very smart listeners out there can tell me which book it is. It's like a
Well, it's hard. It's not like any of our listeners deal with books on a daily basis.
No, it's not. No, so I want to believe it was a C.S. Lewis book, but it might not have been a C.S. Lewis book. And I want to believe it was not just the Chronicles of Narnia. The British... I don't even know if the... So I've since seen...
Christianity sanctioned.
Well, I've since seen the film version of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, the live-action film, where they deal with similar things in World War II, that era of London where the Blitz. Sorry, I couldn't find the word. And so in the beginning of that film, they deal with the kids being shipped off because of the Blitz, and that's how they end up at the professor's house and in the wardrobe and da-da-da-da-da. But this book that I remember reading, I think it was a C.S. Lewis book, but it wasn't... all I remember about it was that it dealt with... I want to say it was a female protagonist in the Blitz, like going underground or some damn thing. I don't have any idea. It will come up to me every 6 months, every year, every couple of years, and I go.
Do you ever attempt to look it up?
No, that's why I'm talking about it here on the podcast.
Obviously,
It's the most efficient way of finding out.
An Alta Vista search might yield some better results than like just putting it out in the air.
An Alta Vista search that would in 1997 that might have helped.
Yeah.
Or
Well, didn't Yahoo buy them?
That reminds me of this. So I saw, I think it was just a tweet. It was somebody had bought at auction this this glass commemorative plaque or something that announced Yahoo buys GeoCities. Like, and the price for what they bought GeoCities for, and they bought this thing at auction, apparently, which must have been, a present to, I don't know, the GeoCities people or whatever. Both of those companies are now out of business.
Yahoo's still around.
Oh, is Yahoo still around?
Yeah, I still have a Yahoo email.
Oh, okay. Well, GeoCities is out of business.
Yeah, you don't have any I could never say it.
GeoCities. Yeah,
GeoCities.
My website started on GeoCities back in.
And then you
1999.
moved it over to
that little bastard with no R, and then I moved it over to Clarkwoods.
Wow, so many websites.
And part of it was at geekforce5.com. That also moved over. Now everything's at Clarkwoods.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you still put out that Geek Force 5, or is that gone into hiatus?
No, I don't put it out anymore because I couldn't get distribution. I couldn't get enough people to read it.
All right. Well, fuck you, fuckers.
Yeah. So, you know who can get a lot of people to read a lot of stuff?
Who's that?
It's J.K. Rowling.
At J.K. Rowling.
At J.K. Rowling.
Check out my book, Misting Mr. Wingfield.
Yeah, like I could do that. I could say I just visited your theme park. You need to.
I learned something about her that she is against pinball, and that there will never be a Harry Potter pinball machine because of that.
Oh, she thinks. Does she know why? Does she say why?
Does she know why? No. I'm hoping she thinks it's like gambling.
Pinball is like gambling?
Yeah, because she thinks there's no skill involved, which is obviously wrong. And she didn't watch Drunk History with Roger Sharp fucking proving to the world that pinball is a game of skill and not fucking a game of chance. I mean, there is the inevitability that you will lose. Yeah. But... if some of the best players in the world can play a fucking, one game for a half an hour.
Yeah, but it's only like 50 cents or like $1 or a couple bucks at the most. I mean, it's not like...
I mean, this was the reason why it was banned in the United States for a wicked long time. Because because before they put flippers on the machine, it basically was gambling. Okay. It was like a pachinko machine.
Got it. Okay. I don't know. I do not know the history of pinball. I shall have to watch Drunk History then.
Yeah, I forget which episode was, but I think it was called Games.
Games.
So watch that particular episode, and you'll learn a little bit about pinball history from a drunk person.
Well, learning from drunk people is the best way to learn, Steve. I don't know if you know this. It's statistically proven.
Oh my god, I think it's Rich Fulcher is the guy. He wasn't on the episode we were just talking about, but like he gets so fucking wasted. And there's like if you
is this one of the hosts?
Well, it's one of the guys that gets drunk and tells the history.
Okay.
Derek Waters is basically the host,
and he never gets drunk, right?
No, he drinks with them.
Okay.
I don't think he gets as drunk as the person. I mean, but he sits with them, and usually kind of tries to steer them in a direction, or
the only one
if they're getting horribly off topic.
The only one I've seen all the way through, predictably, is the Lin-Manuel Miranda one on Hamilton.
So watch some more because they're all really great. But like this guy, Rich Fulcher, if you see him, he gets so fucking drunk. Like that he, like the one we just watched, I think it was last week, he fell asleep like halfway through his sentence.
And did they show?
Yes, they showed him, and then they had him wake up, and he was like,
Did they show the actors falling asleep during the?
No. It was just like the steady shot of like just him just falling asleep. And if anybody thinks that like these people are not getting drunk, like there's no way. That he must be the best actor in the world if he can act that drunk. Like, and I don't think he's the best actor in the world.
No, probably not. No, I mean, why lie about that premise? The premise is fucking awesome. Just, yeah.
Yeah, and fucking, the only thing I've ever seen that guy ever in was Love on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
He was just like this bit part.
Yeah. I was going to watch that, but it fell by the wayside of me.
Well, it's only 3 seasons and it's over, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's one of the things that makes things easier to consume when you know that you have a fixed amount.
Yeah.
All right, so you talked about theme parks.
I did talk about theme parks.
Do you want to talk about your trip?
I should talk about my trip. I think, so we recorded early last week, and I think on the list of things to talk about was the fact that I was going on a trip. I don't know if we ever got there or not. I can't remember. But yeah, I left for a week-long trip last Saturday, and just got back on...
and boy, are my arms tired.
Just got back on Saturday. So what's that, 8 days?
A week.
7. It's a week. And we drove down the East Coast. We stopped the first night in Philly.
Did you see the Liberty Bell?
I was just going to give the overview, and then, yes, I did. We did see the Liberty Bell.
Did you get a cheesesteak?
I did not get a cheesesteak. I was very disappointed.
Did you get batteries thrown at you?
Sweat my balls off?
I mean, it is July.
Well, it was July, but it was also like one of the hottest days.
Yeah, it was hot as fuck up here too.
Yeah.
So like it was like 100 degrees, I think, that day.
Yeah, it was miserable there. And we had not gotten very much sleep.
We had the air conditioning going like the entire, like in the other room. We had it going the entire time, or the entire day that day, and like it would not get below 80 in that fucking room.
Yeah,
and then we were like, oh my god, it's so hot in here, even with the AC going. We'd walk out into the kitchen, and then we'd walk back in and be like, oh, it's so nice in here. Yeah.
That's the way to do it, you know. Well, no. So all right. I started at the beginning. We left on Saturday afternoon.
What did you do at mile marker 42?
No, I'm not going to draw it out that much. It's just to say that originally we were going to take this trip with a camper.
Not like the Olympus cover story.
This would all be over faster, Steve, if you would just let me tell the story.
Just drink your water. I made a One Piece reference.
Oh, sorry.
Don't. Just drink it.
Okay, so we were originally going to take the trip with a camper. That changed fairly last minute, a couple weeks beforehand, when we realized how much it was going to cost us to put the electrical hookup for the trailer into the car. For something we were basically going to do once. We had the hitch, right? But when you pull a trailer behind your car, you also need the electrical part to power the lights and whatever on the back of the camper. So that was going to be cost prohibitive. So we basically were like, we're not going to do the camper. And because we're not going to do the camper, a bunch of things changed. And at the last minute, instead of basically setting up shop in a... when I think about what we were going to do, I think it's absurd. We were basically going to camp at a couple of Walmart parking lots, which are free to camp at on the way down and the way back.
What?
That was our original plan. But the camper went out the window, so now we're like, well, we've got a little bit more flexibility. What we can do is we can stay in Philly, the Philly area, on Saturday night, and then check out Philadelphia on Sunday morning. So my wife booked a hotel through Hotels.com. We
Free plugs.
I didn't know.
No.
And if we ever want...
All right, Captain Obvious, what happened?
If we ever want their sponsorship, I should probably bleep that out, but I'm not going to. So we booked... You
should go to Truvia. It goes to all the different online websites and finds you the best deal at the best price.
You should go... I'm going to tell you a story that's going to tell you that you should basically just go directly to the hotel and never trust a third party. So we get there, I don't know, 9-ish. We knew we were going to be late. We go to the hotel that we have theoretically booked a room at. And they say we have nothing. We say, and she says, go try the other one. This is an extended stay. Okay. So I don't know whether the problem is actually with extended stay or with Hotels.com, but somebody had a fucking problem. So we go basically across the street and behind another building to another extended stay within spitting distance of the first one. They also have nothing. And they say, you should go check the other one. So we go back and we're like, look, we made a reservation. Like, well, sometimes with a third party, the reservation never comes through. It's like, oh, that's great. So Stephanie gets on the phone. My wife, Stephanie, gets on the phone and is on the phone with Hotels.com.
What, it's not your daughter?
For the next hour and a half. They essentially are going and calling while she's on hold with them, every hotel in the area, trying to find a room.
Whatever it is my body needs to make it feel better. The strange thing was, the more I took, the worse I felt. The more tired I felt. And I didn't understand it. Then I started looking at the concept of whole food nutrition. I thought, wow, this is interesting, getting nutrition from foods. Well, I've tried everything else. Maybe this will work.
What is that from?
It's the new Sweethearts album.
Oh.
It was this tape that Dan had of this woman talking about, like, I've been through the vitamin mill.
Oh, okay.
And I was taking so many vitamins, I was taking them by the handful. Okay. Continue.
So anyway, she's on the phone. It's getting to be a little over an hour and a half. And what the problem is the woman is calling and asking for exactly... As many times as we try to tell her, we don't need exactly what we asked for. We just need a room. We have 3 children. It's way past their bedtime. We're tired because we've been driving for 7 hours or whatever it is. Could you please just find us any room? But she's trying to find us a room at the last minute that can sleep 6, which is not going to happen. We're like,
get a friggin' rollout cot, whatever the fuck.
We have accepted that that's not going to happen. She's not listening to us, this woman on the phone. So at a little past an hour and a half, we're parked in the parking lot of maybe a Ruby Tuesday.
So you slept at Ruby Tuesdays.
Near the Philadelphia airport.
Do you want a table or a booth?
And I walk across the street to the nearest hotel and I say, do you have anything with 2 beds in it? 2 beds would be a good place to start, and then we'll sleep the other 2 people on the floor. And she's like, yep, I can help you. I went back across the street. I'm like, she can help us. So we went over, booked that room. And as we were finishing up booking that room, finally the woman gets back on with us from Hotels.com. And it's like, I'm sorry, I really can't find anything. We're like, but hold on, I'm going to keep looking. We're like, no, you're not going to keep looking. We found a hotel room. Now, my wife does not, she has a very long fuse. She does not get mad. I have very rarely ever seen her as mad as she was on the phone right then when she just basically said, like, refund our card, stopped it. So, which is, I gotta go check to make sure it's gone through. But they were supposed to refund our card, and we stayed at this other place, and it was just fine. But that meant that on Sunday morning when we went to Philly, it was hot as fuck. Everyone was tired. My youngest daughter was in no mood to do anything. And so, yeah, we did see the Liberty Bell, and we were going to try to go to Independence Hall, and we were going to try to go and do a bunch of other things, but...
See Ben Franklin's house where he fucked all the hookers.
I saw the president's house, the remains of the president's house, which was where Washington stayed when the Capitol was in Philadelphia. That was interesting. That's right outside the Liberty Bell. Independence Hall, by the time we finally convinced everybody maybe to try, was sold out for the day.
Did you go to a Phillies game or anything?
No, we went to... They had a great Chinese cultural festival down in, I think it's Ben Franklin Park.
Everything's fucking Ben Franklin down there.
So we went to that, and Melody, my youngest, convinced us to play miniature golf in the middle of this ridiculous heat. This is Melody, who will not admit that she's overtired and overhot at all. And so midway through the game, when she stops being able to get the ball in at all, she starts hurling her miniature golf club across the course. And we're like, Melody, you are going to get us kicked out. And she does not care. We get her into the shade and we say, could you please take a drink of water? She'd take a drink of water, become human again for a few minutes, and then go back out into the sun.
To try to murder somebody with a golf club.
Murder somebody with a golf club. So Philly was kind of a bust, but we did see the Liberty Bell, did take some cool pictures, and then we got on our way to Washington, D.C. I'll pause there in case you want to ask me any questions. Any questions?
No, I pepper him in there, Chris.
All right. So Sunday night we drive down past Washington D.C. to a state park in Virginia, which is where we're going to camp, because the rest of the trip is theoretically going to be camping at this point.
Intense
camping, intense camping, intense.
Like I wouldn't mind sleeping in a tent if it was cool. Mm. That's number one.
Yes.
And two, if it was like Capsule Corporation, I push a fucking thing, throw it on the ground, and there's a fucking tent for me to sleep in.
No, you
have to fucking deal with poles and
deal
shit.
with pole. No, we had to deal with poles.
How is it that
in 100-degree heat, in the middle of the forest in Virginia, where they did offer us free firewood, Steve.
Oh, good.
Then the fucking couple next to us did have a fire both nights. That I was, what the fuck? And they were wearing fucking sweaters. At night and in the morning. I was like, what is fucking wrong with you?
Are they from Brazil?
I don't know, but you know how conscious I am of my own body. By the second night, I was walking around the campsite with my shirt off.
Wow.
I was so fucking hot.
You're like, check out my dad bod, kids.
Oh my god, it was horrible. So we Sunday night we camped in Virginia. We went to DC on Monday. It was hot as fuck. We did
in the District of Columbia.
In the District of Columbia.
I imagine it's not humid at all there.
Oh no! Not in the middle of that swamp. And which has not been drained, by the way. No. So we did the monuments. That was what a lot of us wanted to do. Was the monuments.
Wanted to look at all the giant erections.
Yep, all the giant
understandable.
Erections. So.
Did you go to the Smithsonian? That's at least indoors.
Well, so this was our mistake, right? We wanted to do the monuments, and we did the monuments. We got a lot of water. We stayed hydrated, but it was still super fucking hot. So we started off, Washington Monument was closed, went across for fireworks or whatever. This was the 2nd of July.
They just blow shit up every day down there during that week.
I think it was under construction, and also they were setting up for fireworks. So there's a lot of the lawn that was closed off. So we went to the World War II Memorial, which was awesome. I've heard people criticize it as kind of boring architecture. I thought it was a very nice monument. One pillar for each state and territory in the Union, and two big sort of structures on either side, one representing the Atlantic conflict, and the other representing the Pacific, and this great pool in the middle, which I did not expect this was even a possibility. They allow you to put your feet in. Now, they give a reason, nothing else. They don't want you walking in it. They don't want you swimming in it. And they have a sign that talks about when we won the war, the Allied forces put their feet in whatever fountains or whatever. And so this is, it's not sacrilegious. Like
that face wasn't like...
Yeah, I know. It was
that
like,
face was
gross.
That's fucking gross.
Yeah. So we put our feet in the water, and that was heaven, even though, for a few minutes.
Even all the foot diseases you got after that.
All the foot diseases. And then we sort of made our way around. So we saw Vietnam, we saw Vietnam women's, we saw Lincoln at the far end, and then we saw Korea, MLK on the way back. So we did a whole bunch of monuments, and then by the time we were done with that, we went to the nearest Smithsonian Museum to the lawn, which turned out to be the Museum of African American History.
All right.
Now, I'm glad I'm going through this way because it keeps reminding me of funny bits from the whole trip. So the Museum of African.
Are we even gonna get to the friggin' Florida?
I hope so. Yes, I'll run through this. Just the Museum of African American History is so popular that it's all of the museums of the Smithsonian are free. But the African American History Museum is so popular that you're supposed to reserve a spot.
Oh.
Now, we did not know that, so we walk our asses up to...
You're like, hey, we have white privilege.
No.
And they're like, not here.
So we walk our way up, and we overhear that that's the case from the people in front of us, and I say to the woman of color, the black woman, that there's 2 or 3 of them that are there at the gate checking tickets or whatever, and I say, did I hear right that we need a pass? Well, she takes one look at my sister-in-law, who is just profusely sweating. I'm sweating as well. All 3 of us adults are sweating. The kids look completely worn out. She's like,
they're like, she hands you a ball spatula.
No. Here's what she says. She says, yeah, technically, but y'all can be my cousins for today.
Aww.
It was fantastic. Like, just the humor in it, and like we all had a laugh, and she let us in, and we cooled off in there for a little while. Saw some exhibits. Melody made a typically Melody frustrated comment that came across completely the wrong way. I was glad I was the only person who heard it. She said we were up on like the 2nd floor, and everyone else was exploring one of the exhibits, and she said 2 thumbs down. I was like, I pulled her out to the corner. I'm like, Melody, I know you're frustrated. I know you're hot and tired, but you can't say that.
This is not the place.
Say that.
Say it at the White House, not here.
Yeah. I forgot to mention that I did. I couldn't bring when we walked by the White House. I saw a couple of armed guards patrolling the.
Did you want to flip them off?
Well, so what I did, and maybe this could be.
Did you do this? You just hide it behind your hand. Well,
no, I took a selfie with my middle finger on my nose with the White House behind me.
All right, that's fine.
That was the best I could do. So anyway, we African American History Museum. We went out of that, and we were going to. We had the aim of going to the Air and Space Museum.
You had the aim of going to Ames, but they've been closed for years.
Yes. So we're going to go to the Air and Space Museum because we figured the kids would all definitely like that. But we got about halfway across the lawn, and we realized this was never going to happen because we were exhausted. The Air and Space Museum is diagonally opposite of where we were, like all the way at the other end of the fucking lawn. Now, we had passed the Museum of American Culture, and we're like, let's just fucking go back to that. And we did, and that and the African American History Museum were the only ones we saw.
Well, that's fine.
And then we went back and we sweat our asses off getting ready to leave for Florida the next day, and we had some arguments, and it was that basically started the process of us thinking, maybe we don't want to camp when we get to Florida.
You mean in a state that is further south than where you are?
Yeah,
and perhaps
maybe we don't want to
more muggy and more hot?
Yeah. So on the road on...
you stopped at south of the border?
No, we didn't. But that obviously, I forgot how many signs there were.
When your brother and I went down to Florida,
Yeah.
like he was fucking obsessed with going there.
It's such
And I'm like, why? Why do you want to go? Like, well, I mean, I guess he's more
it's a thing from
in tune with
but it's a thing from
advertising.
child. No, it's a thing from childhood. We stopped there on the way
okay.
down when my parents and I and John drove down as kids.
Okay,
So it's a thing from childhood. Yeah.
All right, so I can't understand why you would want to go to this shithole.
Yeah, no, I did not have any such desire. We did not stop. We sort of, looked at all the signs. For a while, I thought about counting the signs, but we were already playing the license plate game, and that was
Like in counting, Jesus Christ.
So somewhere halfway there, we're like, we need to get a hotel in Florida. We're not gonna, but we're not gonna get it through Hotels.com. So Stephanie starts looking up for hotels, and we find one that's pretty close to Universal Studios, which is what we're gonna do when we get to Florida. So she books that for us, and then we tell the kids over lunch, and they're elated because
they get to
air conditioning,
not sweat their, selves silly.
And it means it was better for us because where we were going to camp was in Kissimmee, which is further south, and would have been it turned out it was going to be like an hour drive from our campground to Universal.
So you probably saved
like 11 minutes from our hotel.
So you probably saved in gas, like what you paid in the hotel.
Maybe.
I don't know.
But yeah, no. So Universal, we went there.
Cool. So if you want to donate to the show, go to clarkwoods.com. Wait, no. How much time are we on?
We got about 15 minutes.
Okay.
So I was not...
Hot at clarkwoods.com is the email if you want to send us an email.
I've always been a Disney person. We've talked about that on this show. But so I was never thrilled to go to Universal. But it was one of those things that the next time we went to Disney, we were planning to put some Universal days on there because we all love Harry Potter. And we were like, well, we can just do it in a day. It's not a big deal. And this was at a point where we were going to, in the theory, this is what the Disney trip looked like in like 2 years or so. We're waiting for Star Wars Land to open. It was going to be me, my parents, John, my kids, and my sister-in-law and my nephew, because she's a single parent. She is even more obsessed with Harry Potter, and he is even more obsessed with Harry Potter than we are. We really wanted to help her out and take her down there, and not fully take her down there, but help her over the edge of being able to afford it.
But if you've got a bunch of people in a hotel room, then
exactly, and
save some cash.
And possibly drive down. It was all these sorts of things. And then what happened was we were supposed to go not that far down south, but south for a family event in Steph's family next year. That event got postponed. And so we had this sort of money that was going to go towards that trip. And we're like, why don't we just go do the Universal thing now? Because it turns out my sister-in-law could not give two shits about Disney at all. Sure, if that was the way...
She's probably in the same camp as me. Since I never went when I was a kid, I don't have the fucking desire.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I'm going to go to an amusement park, I'll go to like a Cedar Point out in Ohio.
Yeah.
Or I'll go to fucking Six Flags or Canopy Lake. I don't fucking care about like walking up to Mickey Mouse and shaking his hand and pulling on his prick.
Whereas I couldn't give a shit about theme park rides as a whole. I care about amusement park rides as a whole. What I love is the theming. It's the theming that makes all the difference to me. So she didn't care two shits about...
Remember that guy?
No, what's that? Wait. I do.
The Six Flags like dancing guy?
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Flag? Captain Flag? Randall Flag?
Randall Flag?
I beat you.
You did. So she didn't care about Disney. If that was going to be the way that she got to Harry Potter, fine, but she didn't care. So we're like, let's just break it up into two trips. Let's go take
Harry Potter.
Let's take her and my nephew, and we'll go to
A book on tape.
We'll go to Universal this year, and then we'll go with the family, the rest of my family, in a couple years to Disney.
So you can see Star Wars Land and right on the Stormtrooper
yes, whatever it is,
palace.
Yeah. So we get to Universal, and I have watched a few videos. Excuse me. And the one thing I care about at Universal is
Don't forget to smash that like button!
I had heard that there was this great donut at this place, Voodoo Donuts, right outside the park. Inside of their Universal City Walk, but right outside of the actual park proper. So I said, I want that. It's an orange creamsicle donut. They had a lot of good looking donuts. I don't know if the rest of them were good, but the orange creamsicle lived up to the hype.
It was really good. Did you get like a donut at Simpsons Land or anything?
I didn't, because I just had that donut when we walked.
Didn't want to get a pink donut.
Yeah. On the last night, I almost got a box of free donuts from Lard Lad. They were closing up shop. We were like some of the last people out of the park on the second night we were there, and they were handing out free boxes of donuts, and I was like, but they didn't ask me if I wanted one.
Well, you should have been like, give me fucking donuts.
Yeah. So
did you get a Duff at least? You get a nice Duff beer?
I didn't get a Duff. And I know I sent you a text and you were like, you should get a Duff, and I didn't. But because basically this is what it amounts to. I got to do my donut thing, and then for the whole first day and I like Harry Potter, but at the full first day I was basically at the whims of my family who just wanted Harry Potter. Harry Potter, Harry Potter. So we get into the park, we go right past the Simpsons Land. We cross over a bridge to go to I think we stop maybe there's the night bus is outside of the first Harry Potter land from the third movie. Or third book, and then there's the passageway into Diagon Alley. So we decided, because there's a Harry Potter theme park in both Universal Studios and in their Islands of Adventure, but we're like, we want to do it the way that.
Is it like a water park, the Islands of Adventure?
No, they do have a water park, but Islands of Adventure is basically like it's not like their Epcot, but it's like their second park. Like they had Universal Studios, and then somewhere in the 80s or 90s they built Islands of Adventure right next door.
Do you have to fly on a dragon to get over there?
No, you take the Hogwarts Express.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
you go on a train?
You go on a train.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it's got little scenes that play out on the window. And the other side of you is like these frosted doors, so you can see people's shadows.
Do they come by with chocolate frogs?
They don't. You have to buy the chocolate frogs somewhere else.
Bullshit.
Yeah, I know.
I call bullshit on that Universal Studios.
Yeah.
There should be a candy vendor that brings out chocolate frogs.
Their closest approximation to that is
Bernie Bott's every flavor beans.
Just before you get on the train, there is a snack station, but as far as I could tell, you could not buy chocolate frogs at that snack station. You could buy kettle chips and like other shit that you would not find in Britain. So yeah, I was a little bummed out by that. Anyway, so we walked right past Simpson Land. So I snapped that photo that I sent to you, and I was like, I want to get back here. It's going to have to be later today or tomorrow. We go and we do Harry Potter, the whole Diagon Alley. And my sister-in-law is squeeing, like she is just... she and my nephew, I mean, my kids too, they're just elated. They're going into every shop and soaking up everything. It was a dream. They buy their wands, their interactive wands, because there's places in the park where you can do spells. And we all, but my sister-in-law, decide to go on the... my sister-in-law is a bigger woman, and Universal, being pricks of a sort, have designed both Harry Potter rides to have these very narrow seats. And they forewarn you of it outside. They say, I forget how they phrase it. They're like, this ride may not, the ride vehicle may not be compatible with certain body types or something like that. And so they have seats so you can sit yourself in them. And so Anissa decided she wasn't going to try it. She's also not a big thrill ride person, so it wasn't that big a deal. But so we get on the one there in Diagon Alley, which is called Escape from Gringotts. Scares the shit out of most of the kids, including Melody, who from that point forward doesn't want to step foot in Diagon Alley because there's a huge dragon perched up on top of the bank who occasionally breathes fire.
Like
So-
real fire?
Real fire.
Oh.
Just you'll hear him. You'll hear
Because you need to be more hot in Florida. So let's have a dragon breathe fire on the kids. Perfect. Great idea.
So we did that, and certainly I can talk more about this at some other point. But I want to get through the whole trip, and I only got like 6 minutes left.
You can leave a message for no.
So we did that, and then we took the Hogwarts Express over to Hogsmeade and Hogwarts itself. And
Was it snowing there?
There is snow on all of the rooftops.
Did they make it air conditioned outdoors? So you're like, oh, thank you.
They do that theme park trick of opening the doors wherever possible and letting the air conditioning blow out. There's a section
It's a good idea doing that because like then we'll destroy the world a lot fucking quicker. Like let's make it so every year it gets progressively hotter and we have to use more and more air conditioning that we're wasting by leaving fucking doors open so it gets hotter next year so we can waste more air conditioning. Jesus fucking Christ.
I was not trying to get you started. Believe it or not. No, so there is a place in Diagon Alley. They have their version of Nocturne Alley, which is the alley that Harry accidentally stumbles down during the second film, is basically a big air-conditioned space.
Was Lord Voldemort there?
He was not. Lord Voldemort was not there. He was on the Escape from Gringotts ride, though. He was there. He was present. Anyway, so we go over to the castle, and I had heard, and I was lucky that I had heard this, and it turned out to be true, that you could basically walk the entire castle and then not go on the ride. Because one of the things that I'll say about Universal that, at least so far, they have over Disney, in my experience, and I've been to Disney a bunch, is the queues for the Universal rides are, not all of them, but on the whole, are so impressive. Like, you wouldn't mind waiting in line in the Universal lines, whereas Disney does their best, but a lot of them are fairly bland in terms of the
the Universal Studios in Japan has a One Piece live show, so there's a bonus for Universal Studios, at least in Japan.
There was no One Piece show or merchandise in this Universal, as far as I could tell.
Yeah, I don't know. You might have.
I might have just missed it.
Did they have Japantown?
They did not have Japantown. They did,
but there's but in the defense of Japan, like there's One Piece in everything. Like Tokyo Tower, which is basically like the Eiffel Tower of Tokyo.
Yeah.
Is fucking just One Piece themed on the inside. Just go in and it's just fucking One Piece like games and shit everywhere. And it's been like that for like 3 years. It's not like it's like a thing that like they're like, oh, let's just do this for a little bit.
For a little while. No,
it's so popular. It's been around for 3 years.
Let's see.
Your brother got me a whole bunch of shit from there when he went.
Oh, when he went to cool.
Yeah.
That's neat.
From Tokyo Tower. He there was this giant Frankie pinball machine.
There you go. One Piece and pinball.
Right.
All together.
Although it wasn't like an actual game. It's like you played it to get like a gotcha toy or whatever.
Okay. Anything else I should say about... Well, so we spent most of our time at in the 2 Harry Potter parks. The rest of that first day, we did go to see Shrek. There's a Shrek ride. We did go on the ride called Escape from New York with Jimmy Fallon, or Race Through New York with Jimmy Fallon.
Escape from L.A. and New York with Jimmy Fallon,
which was way better than I expected it to be. Just in general, the whole thing was way better than expected.
Oh, look at that! Mr. Pouty Pants had a good time at fucking Universal Park.
So the second day, there's a whole part.
You almost got free donuts if you'd just taken some initiative.
Yeah. Here's one free thing I did get: a free car repair. Now, why did I need a car repair? Because I neglected to mention when we were coming down from Virginia to Florida, we ran over a gigantic piece of corrugated metal that went smack up into the undercarriage of our car and caused our car to start making an interesting noise and to leak windshield wiper fluid the entire way down.
I'm interested in this.
You are interested? Yeah.
Oh yeah, please.
Yeah. And so
thank you.
On Thursday morning, our second day at Universal, I went to a dealer a Honda dealer just to see if they could look at the car, not necessarily fix all the problems, but just make sure we were good enough to drive back to Massachusetts. Well, they fixed not the windshield wiper problem because that was more extensive. The wiper fluid was leaking from a couple places, but they fixed the thing hovering over the drive shaft, which apparently protected us from.
You are everybody.
It's you all everybody.
You all everybody. That doesn't make any fucking sense.
No, it doesn't.
He should go back to being a hobbit.
So they fixed it and they didn't charge me anything because they didn't have a replacement part. They basically just banged it back into place. So now that we're back, we have to go really get it fixed. But anyway, so I got that free, which made all of Thursday be that much more less stressful because all of Wednesday we were kind of like, what's going to happen with the car and da. So Thursday we kind of took the. We did all the Islands of Adventure. We did Dr. Seuss Land. We tried to do like the Poseidon Land, which was shitty. We did Jurassic Park. I did King Kong. The kids did basically Cartoonville, where they rode on a Popeye-themed raft ride.
Popeye.
We kind of skimmed through Marvel Land, which doesn't make any sense if you know me, but
yeah.
It's a really shoddy Universal take on Marvel, which now belongs to Disney. So, they can't. There's not as much they can update. They own the rights to all sorts of stuff, and the theming is all from like the 90s. It's really bad. Speaking of Rob Liefeld from earlier, Pouchman, all the artwork looks like sort of second-rate Rob Liefeld.
Was Wolverine there?
There was Wolverine.
He's like, let's go, bub.
Yeah, there was an awesome-looking Amazing Spider-Man ride that I was going to go back on at the end of the day, but basically we ended up going back to Harry Potter Land for the end of the day, doing both of those parts again, buying souvenirs, and by the time we were getting out of there was no time to go over to Spider-Man. And so, yeah, I went. That's when I walked, and I also wanted to go back and do The Simpsons. I wanted to go back and do. There was a Men in Black ride. There was a ton I wanted to do.
Men in Black.
Yes, I think it's sort of like a laser tag Men in Black. Sort of you ride in a cart and you have to shoot aliens.
Do you have that teeny gun that he has?
I don't know. I didn't get to go on it. We almost, Melody and I, because Melody was not having the Diagon Alley, that was right across a little pond from the Simpsons ride.
So you swam across.
So we went over and we played a couple of Simpsons-themed Midway games, which each cost $6 a piece to play. And we were going to go on the Simpsons ride itself, but we went in. And what greets... So you have to go in through Sideshow Bob's mouth.
Okay.
Not Sideshow Bob. Krusty. You have to go through Krusty's mouth. And then what greets you on the inside are video screens of Krusty welcoming you to Krusty Land. And Krusty freaked Melody the fuck out. She was like, let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. And I later was standing in line with somebody when I was standing in line for Kong with this woman who and her family. And she was like, that ride was no good. Which made me want to go on it more because I kind of didn't trust her opinions. I was like, I want to go on this ride now. I got to see, but I never did.
It used to be the Back to the Future ride.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
Way back.
The Back to the Future, that makes sense because the train and the DeLorean were both very nearby there.
Yeah. So I think they had that. If you ever want to ride the Back to the Future ride without actually riding it, if you have the Blu-ray, you could just fucking watch it.
Anyway, so...
Are we done? I'm fucking hot.
I'm fucking hot, too. We are done. We are hot.
We are hot. We are
hot.
done.
Hot at clarkwoods.com is how you get in touch with us, because we are hot.
And you could go on to Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to the podcast. And then
rate us 5, 6, 7, 8 stars. How many?
As many stars as you can. The max amount of stars. Just do that. Leave an awesome comment and fucking say that we kick ass.
Yeah.
All right, Sweetums, let's go.